But I think the main things is at the end of the day, volleyball is volleyball. It's in the same 9x9 court, and the rules are the same. So we. Is that on the back of your shirt?
Yeah, it's on the back of the shirt.
Muted. A little free shout out for you. And it doesn't matter who's on the other side of the net. You need to still execute to the best of your ability if you want a chance to win.
What's up, bitches? Welcome to the 9x9. My name is Everett Delorme. That is Rob St. Clair, and this is the 81 square meters of the best volleyball on the internet. I won't lie. It is family day currently in Ontario. I have been day drinking. If you see me lean at a screen, it's because I'm continuing this because it's either crash or burn at this point, baby. But it has been a fantastic week of volleyball. Get into it. Rob, where are you currently in the world?
I am in a hotel room just outside of Washington, D.C. I am in Virginia.
Okay.
I do not have a lot of faith in the internet connection in this hotel room. So this show is going to be a little bit shambly with Everett having, I mean, he and I both have a couple of beers in our system. You probably more than me, but we'll see how this
a little bit of tequila, some
Attaboy.
Baileys. We've been all over the place tonight.
So we're gonna see how this goes. We're gonna wing it. We're gonna let it rip, and it's gonna be fun. And we're gonna start with a piece of news that is not even close to breaking news. Once again, for literally, I think it is now the 5th year in a row, Imoco Conegliano wins the Coppa Italia. Shocker! Breaking news: the best team in Italy, maybe the best franchise in all of volleyball.
No. The most
best coach in the world.
The most dominant team in volleyball. Yep. The best organization possibly right now in volleyball as well too. With the current crumble of Zaxa, like Conegliano once again gets business done. And I mean, this was a close one. Let's be honest. This went down to the wire. And I'm going to say it right away, Rob. If Paolo Gonu doesn't drop 6 eggs in the 5th set, she made 14 errors in this entire match, which is bad as it is, but she dropped 6 of them in that 5th set. This game might be a little bit different, but still full credit to Conegliano. They were able to pull out in this one, but still 6 errors in a race to 15 is absolutely wild.
Yeah, that's bad. And the last 2 were both foot faults. The last 2 to lose the match.
I completely forgot about that. That's wild.
So 2 foot faults in a row to lose the match. Neither of them were close. Didn't even have to review them. It was very anticlimactic. We can certainly talk about that, the match in itself. But first, I just want to credit Conegliano for just being amazing. It's this level of sustained success year after year after year after year is ridiculous. Daniele Santarelli is the best coach in all of volleyball. It's not close. It's not debatable. And somehow something that he has done and that organization has done has made it so even when matches like this are difficult for Conegliano, because like you said, this was close. It came down to the wire. The semifinal was not close, but the final was very close against Malonza. And I think they were down. They might have been down 8-5 or something. There was a point there midway through that 5th set where it looked legitimately possible for Malonza to win the Coppa Italia. And then when a run was required, Conegliano produced a run. Egonu helped with a few more hitting errors. Game over. Yet another trophy in Santarelli's trophy case. It's insane.
They're just so steadfast in the way that they approach the game. And I even kind of want to touch on the semifinal a little bit, Rob, too, because they thrashed Chieri 3-0 in that semifinal. And if you look back to if you look back to the last time those 2 teams played, Chieri was really starting that run where they had the run against the top teams and were pushing them all to 5. And they did the same thing with Conegliano and Malonza in back-to-back weeks. You could tell that in that match, Chieri kind of knocked them off kilter, and that wasn't happening this week. I mean, They showed up ready for business, and they showed up ready to expect. Now, as much as we clown Paolo Gonu for making 6 errors and getting blocked 1, so she was actually a -7 overall in that 5th set, which is half of the points, legitimately half of the points for Conegliano right there. She was also the reason that they were able to get there. right?
100%
Like
true.
she did go 30 for 72. Like she did eat up an insane amount of volume. Like Scylla was the next amount of attempts with 22. Like she literally picked up 50% of the volume from Malonza. And in the sets that they won, and even throughout like sets 1 through 4, she was really good. And like, sure, 8 errors throughout 4 sets isn't fantastic, but she's scoring on a clip that is fantastic. The real big part is the implosion and in that 5th set. And I almost wonder, Rob, if it has something to do with it. In the semifinal, especially for Malonza, it was her against Andropova.
Right.
And that is, that's an emotional battle. That's the drama that we've seen with the Italian national team, all of these things. And I don't know if she sees that threat from Huck. Like, yes, there's that threat in terms of being the best player, but not necessarily that immediate threat that like, I need to put you down because like, I need to be the best player, because it was like kind of like an off switch for her in the 5th set. It was crazy to watch.
And someone in the chat made the point that Alessio Oro just completely refused to set anybody else in the 5th set, which is absolutely, that's exactly what happened. But
wild.
I think hindsight's 2020. When you're in a 5th set and Paola Egonu got you there, I would have done the same thing.
That's an absolute fair point, and I 100% respect that. As I said,
yeah, hindsight, right, right. So like it's tough, man. It's tough for women's volleyball setters in the current era when you have that superstar on your team like that. You know, Eczacibasi with Boskovic, Conegliano with Hawk, Malonza with Egonu, and Fenerbahce now apparently with Melissa Vargas, who might even be.
Well, they still had that before with Stasiak,
Stasiak, and then VakifBank with Jordan
let's
Thompson, whatever.
Some respect on Stasiak's name. Let's come on.
But like because in this world of women's volleyball, you kind of need that player in order to have a chance. It creates an interesting question for your setter about just how much volume do you give that player that you need in order to have a chance. And in the 5th set, Oro fed Egonu the ball constantly, completely with no regard for anybody else on either team, and it failed in spectacular fashion. But at the same time, we've seen Paola Egonu in 5th sets before absolutely pop off and win titles and win matches by herself. So I don't hate that part of it. Obviously, a very, very bad 5th set for Paola Egonu, but Malonza just needs another winning formula from somewhere else. If they want to accomplish anything this year in Champions League, where they have a very favorable quarterfinal matchup, or the Italian League playoffs, if they want to accomplish anything, they need at least one more winning formula other than just Paola Egonu, and I don't know what that is.
It was shown to us in this game when you look at the number of attempts that they had through the middle in the semifinal versus the amount of attempts that they went to in the 5th set in the final. That to me is the big one. They went to Foley twice. They didn't go to Retke at all in that final. 16 attempts to Egonu, 5 attempts to Scylla, 1 to Bajama Bayama. I know we're what is it? What
I think we discovered that it's Bajama.
Bajama, okay.
Yeah, let's
go with that for now. Bajama, and only 2 for Foley. They are at their best when they're going through the middle, right? And they're allowing that to open up, because when you're not setting in the middle, like they had 24 sets and like 24 dishes in that 5th set. Only 2 of them are going to the middle. It doesn't open things up. Like, yes, like, and on top of that, Miriam Silla was 3 for 5 with no errors in the 5th set. So that to me is like something's got to give there, and that's where you look at Conegliano. They gave Hawk 10 swings, and she was 3 for 10, but they spread that ball out just a little bit. I mean, let's be honest, they didn't really need to make that many points. They got 7 kills in their own.
A lot of free points.
Yeah. They got 7 kills in their own, and then Egonu gave them 7 more, and then whatever, they earned one more other than that. So it is what it is, but that has to be figured out by Milano, and that's that system game that they can't really rely on when they get into gut check time. Whereas Conegliano, it's bread and butter. It is literally what they do on a day in and day out basis, and that's why Conegliano still sits on that throne, and everyone else is looking to dethrone them.
That's right. And Daniele Santarelli, just an absolute mastermind, using so many different bodies on the roster. I mean, he kind of out of nowhere, for maybe the first time all season that I can remember, started Alessia Gennari at outside hitter in the 5th set and brought in Robin de Cruyff in the middle, who contributed in the 5th set too, because the foreigner limit. Like that, the moves that he was willing to make are insane, and the trust that he has in the players and the players have in the system is like nothing else on any other volleyball team anywhere in all of the world. Because if
But
Malonza
that's
was doing
exactly it.
anything like that, when Malonza switches players around, which they do regularly, it seems to fail in spectacular fashion. But when Conegliano does it, it works. It's remarkable.
Because this is a team that is bought in from top to bottom. This is a team that is practice led, right? And that, like, there's two folds to Santarelli, and it's clear to me that his practice game as a coach, if you will, must be outstanding, because it seems like every athlete on his roster, and we've seen it now with Conegliano, we've seen it with Serbia, now we've seen it with Turkey, every athlete is able to buy in, and it seems like every athlete is maximized within their potential skill set. It's actually astonishing to watch how this man just continues to win, and the different ways that he's able to win. Like, you had one athlete on this team, Federica Squarcini, who didn't touch the court at one point. That is absolutely incredible. I mean, there's
and she is awesome too. Like, that's a player that I kind of would have wanted to see them use.
There is that too. Like, there's the same thing. There's only 2 of them who didn't touch the court for Milano, but also leaving Sonia Candy out until the 5th. She's an emotional player. Like, you gotta get her in at some point too. That's just my own criticism. I love watching her play, right? But like Conegliano, just they do it game in and game out, because you can tell that they do it practice in and practice out. And that's the Santarelli effect. Like, we're almost privileged, Rob, to be able to be watching this era of women's volleyball. And I think it is elevated because of Daniele Santarelli and what he's able, like, everyone else is chasing him.
He's the best. He's the best, and it's not debatable at all. So here is the final bracket. Quickly, you mentioned the beatdown of Conegliano over Chieri in the semifinal. The one thing that I wanted to point out about that was Sarah Farr's stat line: 13 for 16 attacking, a block and 2 aces for 16 points for a middle to lead all players.
That's gross. That's
sick.
Gross.
That is sick. So good for her. I mean, Sarah Farr is very easy to root for after 2 brutal knee injuries. It's great to see her. I mean, she, when healthy, we'll see in a couple years if she's able to play consistently, but a player that belongs high on the conversation of women's middle blockers in the world. I will say that, because she's been hurt so much. We've forgotten about her. Sarah Farr is very good. The other one that we have to talk about is the semifinal between Malonza and Scandicci, because this was a heck of a lot more fun than the other semifinal, and it was a classic, like, sort of sloppy rock fight, very fun back and forth. Malonza wins it.
It was a battle of right sides.
It was
a battle for the throne, and you know what? Agonu is still on top of that Italian mountain. There's no doubt about that in my mind. But Antropova's right there. And Antropova's right there. And honestly, Rob, I think that looking forward to the Olympics, you have to ride Agonu. Antropova's going to get her swings, but Agonu's going to be your girl. But looking forward to 2025, I don't know if Italy keeps on running with Antropova. I think she's right on the heels, and she just needs a little bit more of maturation to be able to catch her, because she is absolutely right there alongside. Like, she was able to go shot for it was Agonu versus Antropova in this one. It was shot for shot, and it was beautiful.
It was awesome. And technically, Antropova outplayed her 1 versus 1. Her efficiency was just a little bit higher. She had 3 blocks and 4 aces, which is excellent, compared to 2 blocks, 4 aces for Agonu, which is similarly excellent. Agonu, of course, made the unforced errors, and Agonu also got a little bit more help. I mean, Rafael Foley dropped 18 for a middle, which is ridiculous. Dahl dropped 13, Retke 14, Sila 11. Like, and 5 double-figure scores in a women's volleyball game nowadays is ridiculous. And
but this is exactly what I'm saying. And this is exactly what I'm saying about the final too. They went away from the middle. You
Yeah, I
see
agree.
them have the success when you don't need to prioritize the middle. Everyone knows Lagonu's the priority. Everyone knows, but you need to open things up, and you have maybe the best middle duo in the world. It's definitely within the conversation in Foley and Retke, right? So feed them. Right? You got to feed the beast, right? 2 attempts out of 24 in a 5th set in a cup final
Unacceptable.
is not good enough,
Nope.
right? You got to, and if Alessia Ora wants to be considered one of the best setters in the world, which like on some days I consider she is, other days I consider she isn't. It's really streaky for me. She needs to be able to find her middles and open things up. Right? I'm sorry, you can't just be one of the best setters in the world if you just feed it to the hot hand all day long, right? Create an offense, right? You're setting your ace. Let's use some Japanese terms. Why not? You're setting your ace 16 times out of 24. Like 2/3 of your offense goes to one player in the 5th set. Open things up a little bit, and like, hey, maybe she should have stayed with Checo, and maybe she would have been able to open things up a little bit. That was bad. I didn't mean to go down there, down because.
Well,
I will say
you're not wrong. I do think that Alessia Oro, her level of play is exactly a summary of who Malonza is as a team.
Mm-hmm.
Very streaky. The highs are very high, and the lows are just head scratching. I think that's exactly how I feel about Malone.
The ceiling of this team is
the highs are very high.
This team
definitely
could potentially end the season as League of Volley Feminine League champions and Champions League volleyball champions. Like that,
or they could flame out in the semifinals of both, and it would be just as it wouldn't be surprising at all. Yeah,
100%. They could not even make the semifinals. Actually, no, that's not true. They're the top.
No,
there's such a gap. This is not the.
They're gonna make the semifinals in both. Then there's no question about it. But past that, it's a coin flip. And then last but not least, we need to congratulate Joanna Volos, once again the MVP of a major competition. She is the best, and the pairing of her and Daniele Santarelli it's getting close to Tom Brady, Bill Belichick caliber coach quarterback pairing. The two of them together are that good, and it's amazing. She's so good. I love watching her set so much.
She does it with such joy too.
Yeah,
and that's one of the things that I see a lot between her and Bree King is that they just approach the game with such joy, and she's someone that I feel like I would enjoy hanging out with. And she's so infectious on the court, and it fits so well with that team. But also when you look at this team, they've been together for so long, Plummer and Cook, and Kelsey Robinson, and of course Volage, there's
De Gennaro, Santarelli's wife, which we don't talk about enough. That's so adorable. I love that.
Yeah, wait, Santarelli's wife's on that team?
Monica De Gennaro is married to Daniele Santarelli. Did you not know this?
No, I didn't know this. Just despite my DeCheco comment earlier, I am not Ace Vollywood out here. I could not give 2 craps about what. And Rob, one day we need to tell our next drunk stream. I need to tell the craziest story I've ever heard in the volleyball world. I may have already told you this before.
Ooh, okay. This is halfway to a drunk stream, but we're gonna
honestly.
One of us.
One of us is there.
We're gonna save that one for later. But also, I just noticed in the live chat, our T20's Grunt just donated to us, and a huge shout out to you. Thank you so much. That means the world to us that you threw us a couple bucks. He says next beer or coffee is on me. Cheers to you, our friend. Thank you for that. That's awesome. Okay, congratulations to Conegliano. You guys are really good. They are awesome.
He's really good. Yeah,
that's really good. This is not breaking news. Conegliano wins the Coppa Italia every year, but we have to talk about it because they're really good. Are you ready to move on?
100%, absolutely, okay. Especially with what we're moving on to next.
Indeed.
Because we had a week off of it, Rob. It was a good week with plenty of other drama, but we are now back into it. It's time to get serious. It's time for the CEV Champions League quarterfinals, and this is when things get fun, right? This is the Champions League that we know and love, and I could not be more excited for it. Tuesday, Wednesday. One game on Thursday.
There is one game Thursday. Yeah, Ziraat Bank versus Guaguas. Wednesday is going to be the most ridiculous day of volleyball, maybe of this calendar year. It is, unless they probably will reprise the exact same thing the following Wednesday, which will be just as ridiculous. But like this week is absolutely wild, and we're gonna do a quick preview here, Everett. I also think we should pick these games.
Oh,
and
we are.
It's important to point out who is at home in all of these series, because this week we've got Champions League quarterfinals, we've got CEV Cup semifinals, and CEV Challenge Cup finals.
I like
all this.
Yeah.
So the levels, I like it. All of them are home and away. So it's important to remember who's hosting this week versus who's hosting the second leg next week. Starting off, Men's Champions League in chronological order of times when they're happening. Lube Civitanova at Halkbank Ankara, Wednesday, 10 a.m. Eastern. Who do you got?
I'm going Halkbank on this one. I've been calling Halkbank all years as one of my dark horse teams. They beat Lube last year in this exact same scenario. I think this Halkbank team is better this year, especially on paper, with the additions of guys like Gord Perrin, obviously, and of course Mirza Lagumja. Like I can't doubt that he's had a massive impact on this team as well. So yeah, I think Halkbank is going to be the team. Ultimately, I don't know if Lube has it enough this year. Like they leave me wanting a little too much. The Checo's been off his game, since his previous mentioned breakup. I'm not like this is Ronnie Cuban Spike's theory in the Discord, and I'm not gonna lie, I'm kind of with it. As much as Ronnie is a bit of a meme, he's also kind of smart when it comes to volleyball, and that's why like he actually kind of knows what he's talking about once in a while, and into the volleyball world, and know who he knows and what he's told. I'm just not convinced on Lube, and I really like Halkbank. I think they're a lot of fun to watch.
These two teams are kind of made for each other. I think there's a lot I think there's a lot of similarities. I'm excited to see the battle of the Lagumja brothers. That's awesome. Adis versus Mirza. That's great. If this matchup were taking place in October, I would have picked Lube, because Lube at the beginning of the season looked outstanding. Since then, not the similar story at all. They've been floundering in the SuperLega. They had the easiest pool maybe in Champions League history and didn't even go undefeated. I've got Halkbank as well. And I think that Turkish crowd, they're probably going to get 3 points and will put themselves in a very good position for leg 2 to have the situation be where the worst they can do is play a golden set.
And I think that is one of the biggest things too, is that Turkish crowd going into Halkbank is not an easy time. Look at Zaxa. They were able to get a 3-2 win at home, and then they got absolutely stomped when they went into Ankara. That's a tough game to play in. Yeah, that's a tough. They've got the vuvuzelas, and they've got the horns, and they got the drums, and they've passed.
They got lots of yellow cards. I would set the over under at 2.5 yellow cards in that series, 2 matches combined, and I would probably take the over. Lube at Halkbank week 1. It's useful to point out the higher seeded team plays on the road week 1, at home week 2. So Lube is the higher seeded team in that matchup. Next up, chronologically, Wednesday, 1:30 p.m. Eastern, Trentino at Berlin. Everett, I think we're going to be on the same page here. We don't have to take very much time. It's Trentino. They might be the best team in all of volleyball.
Berlin's going to win a set, I think. In one of the sets, Carl is going to be able to go off, and Sotolo is going to be able to go off, and they're going to be able to dominate from the baseline. That's the only way Berlin is going. If Berlin needs to serve like they did in game two against Toulouse, not in game 1, with games 2 where they absolutely dominated. They need to serve bombs from the baseline and put them off their game. That's their only prayer. And Mote has to be good in the middle. That's it. But ultimately, I think Trentino is going to go. They're going to go 3-1 at home, because Max Schmeling Hall is actually a decently hard place to play. And then they're going to 3-dong them next week.
Yeah, if you think Berlin's taking a set in Trentino next week, you are insane. Moving on, JSW at Piacenza. This is the one that we've known about for the longest. This is that 4 versus 5 overall matchup, and it's the spiciest. JSW at Piacenza. This is in Italy this week. Both of these teams are kind of wild cards. JSW just got swept by Barkom Lviv over the weekend in the PlusLiga.
Randomly.
I know it
Yeah,
wasn't.
we'll
I
talk
know
about that
Tony
for
UT
sure.
didn't play, but still, Piacenza also lost to Toronto on Saturday. Like this is
a total toss up. And before this weekend, Rob, I would have said that JW was the second most consistent team and the second best team in the volleyball world. And then they go out and land against this weekend. Once again, we'll talk about it a little bit when we talk about the PlusLiga. But this is a match made in heaven. I guarantee you, this is going to be a sloppy matchup, though. Both of these games are going to go 5, and it is slop show all around. But I'm absolutely here for it because we were going to potentially the set battle between Tony Uti and Brizard. Not to mention, like, you have Patry on the right side for JW, so it adds that little wrinkle in. Like, just this game has the potential to be a lot. It really does. At times, I think it could be one of the best. But as Kenny Diver puts in the chat, who's going to choke harder, Piacenza or JW? Like, I really don't know. Honestly, at the end of the day, for me, I think I'm going to go JW. They went to the final last year. They know how to get that win, and they have been a little bit more consistent. It's only going to be recently. Like, in the most recent of memory, have they really started like messing up a little bit? Whereas, like, we have a good almost 2 years of a body of work of Piacenza that the highs are the highest of highs and the lows are the lowest of lows. So ultimately, I'm going to go for JW here.
Okay, I'm actually going Piacenza. I think that Piacenza's highs have come at very fortunate times for them. They did win their pool.
I am worried about that.
They did win their pool in Champions League. They did beat VakifBank twice. I think that they match up pretty well against JSW. They're going to put a ton of pressure on Tomasz Fornal to kind of carry that team. It's going to be an interesting opposite battle. Remember when Yuri Romano was Jean Patry's understudy in Milano a couple years ago? We get a fun middle battle. Is Norbert Huber actually as good as our Polish fans say? He's going to play against Robert Wendy Simone. The French setter battle, like you said, I love this. Both teams are complete wild cards, but I have Piacenza. I actually like their chances of peaking at the right time here, and I expect them to defend home court on Wednesday.
All right, fair enough. I think it's going to be. I think it's going 5 either way.
Sure, could easily see it. Last but not least, not very competitive at all. Probably.
Meh.
Nice Cinderella run by Guaguas Las Palmas from the Canary Islands, but Ziraat banked the number 1 seed in the tournament, going to Spain this week, and then Guaguas has to go all the way to Turkey next week. This match is on Thursday. This is the only Thursday game this week, 11:30 a.m. Eastern. Everett, how many sets?
5.
Okay, that's a good answer.
I could see this going 5 because I think that Guaguas is going to be solid at home. I think that travel day is going to be a little bit more. I think you're going to get there. It's the Canary Islands. You're like, oh, this is kind of nice. I know we're coming from Turkey, but this is kind of nice. I kind of like this. And I think they're, when you look at that Ziraat Bank team, I think that they may be a team that can kind of take the pedal off the foot off the pedal a little bit. So I think we might see Guaguas come out strong a little bit early, especially with Nicolas Bruno. But ultimately, I think ZB is going to win this in 5.
Okay, yeah, I'll take Ziraat Bank in 4. I do like Guaguas. They have they put together some really good volleyball this year. Awesome story. We love Graham Vigras. We love the Argentinians. We love good home crowd too, and just good vibes all around. I mean, you live in the Canary Islands. What's not to like? But
love it.
There is only one contender in this matchup, and it's not a Spanish team. No. Matt Anderson is playing like one of the very best players on planet Earth right now, and I am kind of curious about the middle battle. I think that's going to be interesting to watch. But on the pins, Ziraat is going to destroy Guaguas on the pins.
Yeah, I think this is the type of matchup that Wuther Termat, especially at home, is going to eat up.
Oh yeah,
like next week at home, I think he's going to have 20+ points.
Okay, so you and I are on the same page in 3 of the 4 series. We're on the opposite side of the JSW Piacenza one. That's going to be fun. Let's move on. Women's side. 3 of these women's quarterfinals on Tuesday, 1 of them on Wednesday. This is what we've been waiting for all year long. Starting chronologically, maybe the best one, Conegliano at VakifBank Tuesday, 11:30 a.m. Eastern. It is insane that Conegliano is playing this game 2 days after the Cup final in Italy. That's ridiculous.
That is nuts. That is nuts, Rob. And until you had mentioned it right now, I hadn't thought about that at all. But you're 100% right. That is absolutely crazy. If there's any team, though, going back to our previous conversation, that can handle that, it's probably Conegliano. But still,
True.
That's nuts. And it's at VakifBank too. So
Right.
they won the Cup final yesterday, didn't party, and got onto a plane yesterday. Today, probably, actually. Maybe even last night.
I think maybe even last night, because that game in Italy yesterday was like
was
on
an
the
early
earlier side. So they
Yeah.
probably flew to Turkey like with the trophy, like after winning that game.
Imagine you roll up to a Champions League trophy, a Champions League game. You just put your Italian Cup trophy on the bench. Just leave it there.
It's like Eric showed you whipping out a Champions League trophy in the middle
That
of our
must be one of the best moments of the show ever.
Awesome.
That was absolutely amazing.
That was great.
But yeah, in this one, my head tells me to go for VakifBank, Rob, because this is going to be a rested VakifBank team, and it's still VakifBank. You still have Gabi. Don't be writing it down in our notes yet. I said my
Okay.
head. I haven't been giving you my final thoughts. Let me elaborate, because in my head, you look at this team, and yes, they got Jordan Thompson, and they've got Gabi, and this is VakifBank overall. This is a champion team,
Reigning champs.
but there's only been a couple of times that we've been able to see Conegliano really knocked off their game, and that's really only once, and that was last year in the Champions League against Fenerbahce. And Fenerbahce did that with some of the best serving we've ever seen. VakifBank can't play that game.
No.
And I'm sorry to Jordan Thompson. She's not a Gonu. She's not Hawk. She's not Stesiak or Boskovic. She is at the next person up, but she's not amongst the elite. So I wonder if Conegliano is going to be able to come in and realize, because like VakifBank has not been VakifBank this year either. Gabi has not been Gabi. So as much as my head tells me to go with VakifBank, with everything going on, they're playing at home. Conegliano just won the cup. They're maybe a little bit more rested. I think I'm still going to go with Conegliano on this one. I think they're almost going to come in and take care of business. I'm almost going to call a 3-dong on this one. It's something in my gut is just telling me that Conegliano is going to show up. They're going to get a tidy 3-0, take care of business, take that win, and be like, we're going to see you at home. Best of luck. Peace.
I like this pick, and I'm going the same way. I've also got Conegliano, but you're right. Like, there's so many factors that point VakifBank's direction, and they know this. Like, the VakifBank knows that they have an amazing opportunity to pounce on a very good team that's coming into their building 2 days after an emotional 5-set win. At the end of the day, Giovanni Guidetti cannot beat Daniele Santarelli. It cannot happen. It will not happen. Somebody put in the Discord the other day that those two coaching against each other, Guidetti hasn't won that individual matchup in like 3 years, club or international. And I don't see a world where VakifBank wins this series. I also don't really see a world where VakifBank wins this match, because Santarelli will outcoach him.
I think it would be a little bit sooner than that, because it would have been Champions League 2 years ago when VakifBank beat Conegliano in the final. Back when Agonu was on, yeah, Agonu was on Conegliano and was on VakifBank before the switch.
Yeah, that probably was the last time.
But I do agree. I don't think it happened often. So yeah, ultimately, I just don't see the quality in VakifBank that I do in Conegliano.
The setter position is the biggest difference to me. Also, setter and libero, two massive Conegliano advantages, and opposite Hawk is much better than Jordan Thompson. But it's the setter. I trust Joanna Volos so much more than any other setter, but particularly John Suozbai.
Yeah. Do you think Frankie gets the start as L2?
Yes, and I think she gets outplayed by all three of her American outside hitter teammates, Plummer, Robinson, and Lanier. Probably all three play, and probably all three outplay her.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
So we'll see. Next up, chronologically, Malonza at Łódź, Tuesday, noon Eastern. Similar situation for Malonza, playing this game only 2 days after a 5-set loss in the Italian Cup final, but very different opponent. I've got Malonza here on talent alone.
Yeah, me too. No offense to Voyage, but the Torn Liga does not match up to the Lega Volley Femminelli or the Sutton Liga at this point. If they were going to be able to steal a win, though, it would be here right now, right? And we've seen that in a couple of years. What was Zhezhov last year that stole a win?
2 years ago, maybe.
Last year.
It happens.
Or 2 years ago. So yeah, there's things that happened there. If Woj was going to be able to do it, it's now. Does Valentina Diouf play for Conversion, or does she play for the other one? I think she plays for.
I think she plays for this Łódź, not Budowlani Łódź.
Yeah, I thought so too. So like,
there's two Łódź teams on the
There's
side.
the potential to do that, and I mean, like, remember back in the day, there was a brief time in the 2010s where like Diouf was the next savior for Italian women's volleyball. I forget if it was the World Championships or the Euro Volleys, but she went off in one tournament, and we were like, yeah. Then she just disappeared off the map, and it was the next one. So like, I could see that being a bit of a grudge match too, like two Italian opposites. So if there's one time, and Voyage is playing at home,
they are.
Maybe. Let's see.
I appreciate you like trying your best to talk that one into existence.
The door is open for it.
You've almost convinced me.
It's
keyword almost not happening. Malonza wins easily. We'll see. Next up, similarly, Fenerbahce at Stuttgart.
No, that's a slapping. Damn, that's a slapping. Which like we need to talk about Melissa Vargas, because we thought she was coming back to do like rehab and stuff like that, and yet she's posting posts like, I'm back. Like, what's going on here? We've talked about this. You need to sit your butt on the bench. Let Stesiak do the job that she's been brought in to do. Fenerbahce, you're still one of the best teams in the world. Rehab. Get ready. Olympics.
We've
Don't
talked
matter
about this.
None of this matters.
If anybody in the chat knows what's the latest, do we expect to see Melissa Vargas play? And this is tomorrow. Do we expect her to play tomorrow? It would be truly insane if the answer was yes. But if anybody knows the answer, let us know in the chat. We already went over this. It would be ridiculous for her to play in this series or really at all this season. Fenerbahce is way better than Stuttgart. This will not be competitive. It will be 3-0, 3-0. Game over. Let's move on.
Ozzy in the chat saying she's playing.
That's crazy. That's.
We'll see. It
negligent.
Sucks right now because we can't do these shows anymore during the daytime. So our European fans are nowhere to be found, and we miss you. I miss when Burkai was just able to come in and just like drop any knowledge on Turkish volleyball. Not that we don't appreciate you North Americans. We love you as well. But
yep. And our people in the Far East, we got some Australians awake right now, and we love them. Last but not least, on Wednesday is the rematch from pool play, which is going to be a really good one. This one is, Scandicci at Eczacibasi, leg one. Scandicci won both of those games in pools, 3-1 both times. Eczacibasi has been better since then. Scandicci has been not quite as good, but we've talked about a lot. Scandicci without the handcuffs that is the foreigner limit is a completely different team. This might be the most coin flip series of them all. Everett, what do you think?
100%. And honestly, I'm going to call it right now. I think Eczacibasi takes this match, right?
Okay.
It's really hard. It's really hard to beat a team 4 times in the season. It's really hard to do that, especially when you're playing a quality team like Eczacibasi, right? So I think you have Eczacibasi that's going to be able to come out. They're at home. That's always going to be a tough place to play. And I think they're going to be able to take it to Scandicci and take that first leg. I'm not entirely sure if they're my favorite for this series, given how much they dominated in pool play. I think I'd be leaning a little bit more towards Scandicci, but I think in this one, I'm favoring Eczacibasi. They're playing at home. Scandicci beat them twice already. Like it's just hard to beat a team. It's hard to beat a team twice in a tournament. It's hard to beat a team 3 times in a tournament. And it's even harder to beat a team 4 times in a tournament. So I think if you're Scandicci, you almost want to give up a win. Like if you're going to lose, you want to lose in 5
now.
Now, and then just take it in 3 or 4 next week.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and go with Scandicci here just for the sake of picking something different. But this is a complete coin flip. I love this matchup. I love that we've seen it twice. The dominating thing for me the last 2 times these 2 teams played was Scandicci's backcourt defense. They dug so many balls. I couldn't believe the level of defense that they displayed from every position. And that is a good recipe against a team like Eczacibasi, who wants to be as terminal as they can. They're not really a long rallies team. They're a little bit more of a first ball side out and points on the faster side kind of team with Alexa Gray and Tijana Boskovic, obviously, and good middles. You also have the Maja Onjanovic revenge game, kind of, because she used to play there and obviously sets Boskovic in the summer. So I like Scandicci by probably 51% to 49%. But this series is going to be great. It's Wednesday, 11 a.m. Eastern.
Yeah, this is going to be a real top up. It's going to be, to me, it's going to come down to what is going on the pin, right? Because
for sure.
we know that barring a big like I think Antropova is going to show up, and I think Boskovic obviously is going to be able to. Boskovic is going to be able to show up. So it is going to be a question of like, who does Eczacibasi bring out on the pin? Like, are you going to go with Voronkova and Gray? You're going to go with Voronkova and Baladin. Like that is a little bit more up in the air. Personally, I think they have a better shot when they have Alexa Gray, especially when you're going against a high power team like Scandicci. You need someone who's going to be able to side out for you on the left side, because they're going to have Britt Herbots, right? Yep. They're gonna have Britt Herbots and Zhu Ting. So this is the spicy game for me. Actually no, Conegliano and VakifBank is still really good, but this
VakifBank.
Yeah, this is still very interesting just because of the layers that have already been built throughout pool play.
Yeah, this is such a sick week, and it doesn't stop there with Champions League, because we also, like I said, CEV Cup semifinals. Go a little faster through these. On the men's side, Fenerbahce at Resovia, Wednesday noon Eastern. Resovia has been in a free fall the last couple of days. They got upset in the PlusLiga. They got upset in the quarterfinals of the Polish Cup, which we'll talk about. Everett, do they rebound? Do they defend home court against the Turkish team?
Yeah. Okay. Fenerbahce is not that good. Like and that's just the truth of the matter, is that Fenerbahce doesn't have like losing to a team like Barkum. Is that who they lost to?
So they lost.
That was JW.
They lost to Luke
Lublin in the Polish Cup. So no, they're not going to lose at home to Fenerbahce. I don't really see that happening. No offense, I don't really know who Fenerbahce even has. To be perfectly honest, who's on Fenerbahce, Rob? I'm going to search it right now.
So they have Drazen Luburic, who is legit, and they have I guess Dick Coy and Nikolai Penchev are likely to be the outsides. Maybe Yeet, who played on Halkbank last year. Then Khan Gurbuz is a really springy lefty opposite, who's very good, or at least who has potential. And then our Turkish fans think that Murat Yenipazar is the best Turkish setter and should be the national team starter. So they've got some guys. They've got a couple middles who were highly rated, at least according to our Turkish fans. This team is pretty good. I don't see them beating Resovia, at least not this week. I think they would have a better chance at home. It's going to depend a lot on set score, but in the first leg, at least, I've got Resovia.
Yeah, they're going to get slapped. I mean, they even have last year's picture up for this year's team on Volleybox. Like, who they have? It looks like they had Luati and Maroof.
Yeah, that was last year, maybe even 2 years ago.
Too.
Yeah, so Melianats was last year. Last year they had Maroof Luati. The year before they had Luati and Salvador Hidalgo and Metin Toy at opposite. Yeah, I mean, Fenerbahce is Fenerbahce. They're one of the great sport clubs, like multi-sport clubs in the world.
But they don't stack up here.
Not in men's volleyball, no.
No, and this year. In past years, they have. There has been win times historically where Fenerbahce is damn good, but they don't stack up here in Resovia. The next one is Rob that I'm really excited for. Ask for some North American content, because we got some North Americans. First of all, you got Loomberg, and they are just North American stats. You got the out of system Pineapple out there, the Red Rocket, Mr. Gage Worsley. Max Elgert setting for that team. I know that Jesse Elser, I saw him in a clip today from this weekend's match, and he was in Civies, so I'm not entirely sure where he's at. Xander Ketrzycki has been going off recently for this team. This is a really interesting matchup for me, Rob, because Lundberg is a tried and tested team now. And sure, they missed a huge opportunity last year, or they missed a huge opportunity in this Champions League. Yeah. They could have been in the playoffs. They could have been in the quarterfinals if they played their cards right, but they didn't. They messed up. And now you get to go against an Arcus team that is a team that traditionally is pretty decent. Like, it's a team that has made a stamp on European volleyball in a number of years, whether it's at the CEV Cup or even at the Champions League level, right? You have Gregor Grosser, you have guys on this team. So I think this matchup is going to be very, very interesting overall. Ultimately, I think Arcus is the favorite, and I think that's where Lundberg plays best. Lundberg plays best as the underdog. Lundberg beats Modena as the underdog. Lundberg takes Berlin to 5 as the underdog. Lundberg loves being
push it over the finish line. That's the thing.
Absolutely. They're all Swedish, no finish.
So who's your pick?
Arcus in this one.
Okay.
I think Arcus wins this one 3-1. Lundberg wins 5-0 at home, but Arcus moves on. Or not 5-0, but 3-2.
Yeah. Okay, I could see it. Yeah, I mean, we love Lundberg. They're a fantastic franchise. We love Stefan Hubner, their coach. He's the man. A team that with very, very, very little budget always does more with less. But this particular matchup, I don't like for them. Georg Grosser is by far the best player on either team. He's going to be playing back in Germany in the second leg. I mean, Lundberg has never seen an opposite like him. Not even Mark Schottler, who they play against domestically, is remotely similar to the style that you see in Grosser. The other thing too is that
Lundberg guys are on the national team. How many of those Lundberg guys are playing with Grosser on the national team?
Well, Jan Buma is his backup, if that. Eric Ruers is kind of a backup at both wings on the national team.
Just those two guys, really.
Yeah, really just those two guys, and then
everyone else. Son, yeah.
Everyone else is everyone else is North American, and they're playing against a North American influenced team in Arcus, at least on the Canadian side. Glenn Hogue coaching, obviously. But my thing is that Efe Mandaraja is better than any outside hitter on Lundberg's roster.
Yeah,
because he's finally back healthy, and the kid is absolutely amazing.
He's pretty filthy. I do like watching Mandaraja play.
Really good.
I can say that openly right now because I know Burke is comfortably in bed, but he might be listening to this later on. Also, Rob, just some notes from the chat here. Fener 3-dong ZB last week.
Fenerbahce is no joke.
They only have one loss this year, and it came to Halkbank. Just saying.
Yeah, dude.
You know, my double spin comes out. I'm like, hey.
I like Arcus in this matchup too, which I hate to say it because I do love Lundberg, and there's more Americans on Lundberg. There's 0 on Arcus, but there's no way I can pick against Grosser. There's no way I can pick against him.
Absolutely not. That man is a machine. We are fortunate to live in the Grosser era.
Yes, we are. We really are. All right, next up, Women's CEV Cup. This is definitely less exciting. Not as many familiar players to us, not as many big name franchises. Budovani Łódź, who had an okay Champions League campaign, on some team called Neuchâtel from Switzerland. I have no idea if I said that even close to right.
Neuchâtel.
Oh, so it's like French pronounced. Okay, whatever. I don't know anything about them. Budovani Łódź, Mac May, who I like. She's American, so I'm picking them.
Yeah, I mean, I'm taking Budovani Łódź this one. Everyone knows how I feel about Chieri on this program. I absolutely love them. So I'm taking Chieri just to win it full out. Not as much intrigue for me in the CEV Cup semifinals on the women's side, and then on the men's side, this it's. I think the final Łódź against Chieri is going to be banger. Ultimately, I think that's going to be 2 really good matches. 2, right? 1.
Yeah.
1. 2.
2. They still play home and away on the final in CEV Cup.
Okay.
I've got Łódź and Chieri as well. Chieri taking on Paris Saint Cloud from France.
Yeah, no,
whatever.
Sorry, PSC.
Yeah. Last but not least, as far as CEV goes, the Challenge Cup final. This is the best Challenge Cup game.
This is
maybe
spicy.
ever.
I like this. I might be. What time is it? This on
This is
on
Wednesday,
Wednesday.
11:30 a.m. Eastern, which is crazy because there's so many other games going on at that exact same time. But
Yeah.
Monza at Warszawa, leg one. I love everything about this game. I mean, these two teams are legitimate playoff threats in both their domestic leagues. This is like exactly the sort of CEV match that we want to see. Warszawa is going to finish top 4 in the PlusLiga. Monza has been really, really good lately in Italy. There's North American flavor on either side. Like pretty big names on both sides. I love this. First leg in Poland. Everett, who you got?
Oh, this is really tough to say. This is a fun matchup. This is what I want from the volleyball world, right? The pretty good but not fantastic teams from each team. Although Warszawa, you could almost like they've been playing like a top team this year for sure.
Who's gonna be?
I think it has to be Monza. I really like this Monza team. There's no doubt about it. I'm pulling for Monza in this one, but man, it is really close. When I just look down, I think Monza has a little bit more quality, but that's really tough to say because I know that Ziraat handled Milano in the last round of the CEV Cup as well, right? So, like the comparisons for Italy versus Poland this year have been a little bit off, but ultimately, I think my heart wants to say Milano. For sure, Monza, whatever.
Of course, there's 3 Canadians on that team. I would
absolutely.
It would be ridiculous if you picked against them. But I actually
they've been winning of late too. They've won their past 2 or 3. I think they got a good winning against Milano, and then they followed up with a W against Catania. So like they're on a bit of a roll right now.
Yeah, this is going to be a good series. I've got Warszawa though, at least in the first leg at home. I really like their ability to match up in the middle. Whoever they play, I hope it's Taylor Averill.
Me too.
But
fun match in the middle. I like
but yeah, Andrzej Verona, Yuri Semeniuk, both have had really good years. Like as kind of the older guys waiting for Francesco Lisanat to get back healthy. Jan Firle versus Kachopa is a very fun setter battle. Bartłomiej Bołądź versus Arthur Schwartz is a very fun opposite battle.
That's pure power.
That's awesome.
That's 2 sledgehammers, and I love it. That's old school. That's women's volleyball. Let's be honest. Let's get 2 men to be like, ooh, ooh, ooh. Who's gonna string harder? That is Bołądź versus Schwartz. And I might be more excited for this matchup in the Challenge Cup than some of the matchups in the quarterfinals. And like that's why like, Wednesday is gonna be such. And this is why, Rob. This is why if we had a tiered system where we were like if we were doing proper matchmaking in volleyball, almost like it was like esports, like this would be way better because this is what we've got right now, and I love it. Chef's kiss.
Yes, I love it too. I'm very excited. It's going to come down to Monza's serving as it typically does with that team. So that'll be a fun one on Wednesday. Women's Challenge Cup final. This is a decent series. Novara, who will be the favorite against Nantes from France, who I know not very much about, but Nantes is actually the higher seed. The first leg is in Novara on Wednesday evening.
How is not the higher seed?
I have no idea. I don't know.
Who in this world is telling me that the Neptunes from Nantes, which that's honestly, I just like this must be a newer team. Yeah, this is a new team from Nantes because they weren't always called the Neptunes. What were they called before?
I don't know, but Neptunes is pretty cool.
And the logo is pretty legit too. I'm looking at it right now. It's fantastic. Who does this team have? A lot of Americans. Don't know any of them. It's a pretty international team. I'm still going for Novara. Akimov is way better than any of these players.
Yeah, that's 100% true. That's 100% true.
I don't. Yeah.
I do like.
I
do like Jalen Keene. Shout out to her. I met her at Wapaka a couple years ago.
Oh, cool.
She's American, but this game's like 2 p.m. Eastern on Wednesday. It's actually much later, so it could be a nice little nightcap situation. But yeah, Novara's gonna win this tournament.
There's too much other going on Wednesday. I'm sorry. This one is getting cut.
Yeah, me too.
This one is getting cut.
Okay. So that sets the stage for a ridiculous week of CEV. We'll catch up with it all next week, and I mean, you're probably going to get basically the exact same thing the following week in leg 2. But this is going to be sweet. Make sure you're in the Discord. We'll get you all the links and the threads and the ways to talk about all these games. Everett, before we move on to some domestic leagues, I need you to tell the people about thatvolleyballstore.com so I can go over to my fridge over here for something special.
Oh, I was going to say that's not fair, but then I realized I'm literally packing right beside me. But absolutely, as Rob goes and leaves the TV on behind him, head over to thatvolleyball.store. Use the code SPICY at 15% off of all of your entire order. You get the entire 9x9 series, and 9x9 squared series, all of your favorite volleyball store stuff. And of course, the merch from our favorite series. And just in time, Rob is back because Where's Daddy? You can get his merch. And look at that. We are jumping right back into it. Where was Daddy last week, Rob?
Daddy,
I feel like I kind of remember it was an obvious one. Maybe
it was an obvious one. It did make you laugh. Daddy Stankovic last week was hidden somewhere, as he always is. It wasn't the most hidden of all hiding places, but it was pretty funny because I had to turn his head like kind of onto an angle for this Katowice 3-donging Zaxa game, which was. It added to how funny it was because of how ridiculous that result was. But yeah, there was Daddy every week. Daddy Stankovic is hidden somewhere. And if you find him, you comment the timestamp of where he is in the main YouTube comment section. And the first person to do that last week was Kenny McGraw, who might lead the Where's Daddy leaderboards all time in Daddy findings. So Kenny, great job as usual. You found Daddy Stankovic. Everyone keep your eye out for the man, the myth, the legend in this episode. And if you find him, don't put it in the live chat. Wait until the show is over and comment in the main YouTube comment section the timestamp of where you see Daddy. You're welcome. You're welcome. You get to look at Daddy Stankovic. Everyone's a winner.
Daddy.
Delicious.
Delicious. All right, Rob. Well, moving on to the SuperLega now. Moving on to some more domestic pro stuff. This is a double week on the men's side for the SuperLega. We had a match day on Wednesday, and then we had, of course, classic Saturday, Sunday style. What do we want to talk about first? I think Monza over Milano was an absolute big one. Verona over Piacenza at the time was massive. Rob, that was Verona's 10th win in their last 12. The past 2 wins, or the only 2 losses they had in that time span, were both to Trentino, one in the cup, one in the regular season. They started this year 2-6. We were laughing at them. They've turned it on since with this one. Of course, they unfortunately lost this week against Milano, but Verona was really, really legit.
Well, let's talk about that one first, because Verona against Piacenza. So this was last Wednesday, and I watched this game. And this game, from Piacenza's perspective, was absolutely vomit-inducing with errors. They made so many errors. It was crazy. I think it was like 36 total errors in 4 sets. It's just disgusting. And so 18 service errors, 13 unforced attacking errors. That's 31. I think there were like 5 other random ones accounted for. Yeah, got ace 6 times. That's probably got ace 6 times. That's 37 errors. That's horrendous. That's so bad. That's 9 errors a set. You're giving away 9 points per set for free. That's crazy town. Cannot happen. And good game from Verona. They played about as clean a volleyball as they could. 6 aces to only 10 service errors is outstanding. Alex Grozdanov might low-key be the best server on that team. Every single Verona stat sheet I look at, he leads them in service attempts. He just goes on runs with that like nasty downward angle jump float serve every time he goes back there.
You know who his float serve reminds me of? It reminds me of a Graham Vigrass float serve. It reminds me of
That's
that
a high
big
compliment.
palm. It's that big palm taped thumb situation that they've got going down there, and there's just a bit of a nice little right through it, and you gotta love it. I really like Grozdanov. I really do. I think he is an underrated middle. He is one of the few bright spots that they have in that Bulgarian program right now. The Rock has been absolutely phenomenal this year. And in this one, he was ridiculous. He went 19 for 34, no errors, only got blocked once. He had a 56%. His efficiency was through the roof. He is, it's so hard to remember that he's only 21 years old. Like, he is so good at volleyball. He's just
Really
really,
good.
really, really good at volleyball. And you know what, Rob? I know that Stoichev, and we can talk about Stoichev's stooginess. His stooginess came out in full force in the loss to Milano on Sunday.
It did.
And like, he was going at players. He was yelling at Mozic. He was yelling at Imoco. He was getting into it with Spirito. Like, it was testy. But like, up until that point, like recently, he's been doing a good job. And I know we've been kind of clowning Verona for kind of having this attitude that like defense and serve receive don't really matter. And that's kind of what we've been hearing out of the Stoichev camp. But this team plays simple volleyball really well, and they just come at you relentlessly. And I kind of love it. I kind of love the way that they play. They are just,
I love it when
safeties
it works.
safeties off, guns a-blazing, 100%. And it's been working
I
up
love
until
it.
this past one Sunday.
It has. I love it when it works, and it did work against Piacenza. It helps when you play Piacenza, who's basically like a shiny, polished version of Verona that you peel away a very thin layer of like chrome spray paint, and you see a similar bone structure of a very similar flavor of garbage that Verona has when they suck, and that's passing the ball very badly, making way too many errors. It's exactly what we saw from Piacenza here. I mean, you're not going to beat anybody when you make 9 errors in a set.
No.
It's just not going to happen, and that's terrible, and they should be ashamed of themselves. So good job, Verona. I would like to revisit the Verona idea when we get to the next match day, because they got donged by Milano and it wasn't competitive. But speaking of Milano, they had an interesting week because they lost a derby game to Monza, and wasn't really super close, especially that the fourth set was not close at all. It was completely over. So Monza wins the battle for Milano, and got good after that. But this might have been the best game I've seen Stephen Marr play in a very long time. 22 on 20 for 36 attacking.
Yeah, I mean, Stephen Marr was pretty good. Arthur was pretty good as well. 17 for 31 with 4 blocks and an ace. Vero Volley Canada is looking pretty good, and
made that season ace to error ratio ever so slightly less terrible.
You know what? Yeah, for sure. You know what? I will say this, Rob. He might be the highest scoring server in the league when you comprise all of the points that he scored.
Points for one
points
team
for and against, but he's still scoring points out there. So let's just say that. Actually, I'll take that back. Gabby Garcia Fernandez is actually the least efficient hitter in the league, and that's statistically true. But
thanks for that.
You know what? This is a really good game. The Canadian squad. Marr he's Stephen Marr. At the end of when it's all said and done, Rob, Stephen Marr might be the best player that Canada has ever produced. Stephen Marr might be the best player to ever put on the Canadian national team jersey. I truly believe this.
Wow.
No one in Canadian history has had the professional career that Stephen Marr has had. And
that is
in
true.
terms of the longevity in the Italian league, in terms of the numbers that he's put up in the Italian league. I mean, considering that, like, I know you hate talking about transfer news, but it looking like he's heading to Lube and Lepi's heading to Lube next year. Like, if you're a Canadian fan and you're watching this is peak Canadiana in volleyball right now. Like, what is currently going on, and I kind of love it, and I'm here for the ride. Like, it's so much fun getting to watch SuperLega volleyball that I have a meaningful connection to, and there's 3 Canadians on the court. Like, if you had told me that 6 years, like 5 years ago, it would have been hell no, that would never happen. So yeah, it's awesome. I'm cheer for them all day long.
I'm happy for you.
Thank you.
Elsewhere on Wednesday, breaking news: Toronto lost a 5-setter. Certainly never heard that one before. Vlad Daviskiba did drop 28 for Modena, which is pretty insane, and was playing opposite, I think. Yeah, he was. But everything else was kind of expected. I mean, Padova beat Catania in 5. Lube actually took a set off of Trentino, which is an accomplishment because Trentino is far better than them.
Trentino just dominates, and I'm pretty sure Lube took the first set or the second set.
Second.
Yeah.
Micheletto dropped 23. Was terrific. Honestly, I don't even have that much to say about that. I think we should move on to the weekend's games because it got a little weird.
It did get a little read. I was gonna say, like, I was really excited for this Lube versus Trentino matchup, and I think I hyped it up on last week's show a little bit, but it really just didn't deliver at the end of the day. And Lube's quality is so much below what Trentino can do right now. Like it's almost incredible to believe that like this is the teams that like battled in last year's finals.
It is, and that series went 5 somehow. Okay, let's move on to the weekend because remember we're getting real close to the end of the regular season here. Then there are now only 2 games left.
2 games left.
This is the third to last week of the season, and it's crazy. We're gonna look at the standings in a minute. First, the predictable ones: Perugia 3-dong Padova, Monza 3-dong Catania. Great.
Yes.
To 3-dong Modena. I call that a predictable one because it is. I do want to point out though that Trentino did that with their bench. Trentino put in the entire bench in the second set, and still Modena never really had a chance. Modena went out there and lost to Gabriele Nelli. Shame on you. Shame on you. Shame on you. They put in the backup setter. They put in a backup middle. I think they put in a backup libero. They put in Oreste Cavuto at outside hitter, for God's sake. Shame on you, Modena.
Yeah, that's bad. That's really bad. I don't like that at all. At all. And then other than that, that's kind of where things get interesting.
Yeah, so the interesting games: Milano 3-donging Verona, both of them rebounding from Wednesday. That one is worth spending some time on because
I think I want to start there because I was really high on Verona heading into this game, and I actually found myself cheering for Verona for the first time. But all of a sudden, this was the worst Rock Mozic game we've seen in a while, and he's
very bad.
8 for 17. His efficiency was real. His efficiency was real low, and his passing numbers in general were pretty terrible. But for me, what was happening? Des Ronak was as incredible. Whatever that commentator who was that she's one of the American girls. I forget. She was like, I don't even remember what she was calling him. It was absolutely psychotic. I couldn't stand it. Des Ronak was really good. He was 7 for 11. No unforced errors, got blocked twice, but Mozic was just really not good in this one, and Verona could not pass the ball. It was domination Milano all match long, and it was actually kind of hard to watch.
11 aces for Milano in 3 sets. That's almost 4 aces per set. That's nuts. That's nuts. Verona, Stujchev. This is who they are at their core. This is what Verona is. They have been good lately, but when they play against a team who is capable at serving the volleyball, good night. 3-dong. See you later. Not really very competitive. Good for Milano too. They needed this game.
Yeah, no, good, definitely good for Milano, but this was a really good team game from Milano. Like you see, Marco Calves came in; he was 9 for 10 in the middle with 2 blocks and 2 aces. That's huge. Lozère wasn't exactly Lozère in this game. He only went 3 for 4, but 4 blocks, right? And it's when
I was so confused about who you were talking about. You called him Marco Calves. That is a translation of Marco Vitelli. I guess Vitelli means
yeah, that makes way more sense. Way more sense. Because
That's
even
awesome.
at one point too, I was like, doesn't Marco Vitelli play for this team? I was like scanning his name, and I was like, I was freaking out in my head because I was like, I swear to God, I saw Vitelli have a game this weekend, and then I was scanning Milano's like roster here, and I was like, bro, like, where is Vitelli? And I was like, who the F is Marco Calves? And I was like, whatever, the name's in front of me, so I'm just gonna go with it. Okay.
Thank you, Google Translate. That was
Thank you, Google Translate. Oh my goodness.
That was awesome. But yeah, I mean, 4 players from Milano in double figures is excellent, including a middle, second in scoring with 13. So yeah, that's sick. Good all around game. I mean, incredible offensively. 41 for 69 is amazing. 10 blocks, 11 aces. Again, this is in 3 sets. That breakpoint generation rate is insane. Insane.
You know what? Milano kind of needed that because they've been having a rough go as of late. Coming into this match, they were 1-6 in their last 7. And that includes obviously league play and international stuff. And then looking into that, they were 2-9 coming into that one as well. So that's a really big win for Milano. Kind of stops that skid from them, and that's kind of where like at the beginning of this week, Milano started way ahead of Monza, but there is a log jam in the middle there, 5, 6, 7, all sitting with 33 points in the middle. Verona, Monza, Milano. And after this week,
we'll talk about the standings. We'll talk about the standings. Just trust me.
I'm getting ahead. I'm getting ahead a little bit.
Yeah, we got a lot to project. 2 more matches to talk about. The first is Lube with honestly a kind of miraculous reverse sweep win over Cisterna. They went down 2-0. They looked like there was nothing going on. You know who the savior was, Everett?
Who was the savior? Tell me who was the savior.
Ronnie Cuban Spike, cover your ears. You're not allowed to listen to this. Marlon Yant completely saved this game. He completely saved it. 12 for 14 off the bench. That's ridiculous.
I'm not surprised. Ooh.
12 for 14 is insane.
14. That's a little tasty, a little morsel there, Yant. Like that. But I'm not surprised. We've seen him do it time and time again. I don't know if Yant has the mentality to be a full-time starter. He just seems too lackadaisical in his approach. He has the talent, though, to be a top-level outside, right? He is the Romano on the left side. He can just be a little bit testy. Maybe not as bad. I take that back. I apologize. That was me, Marlon. And I apologize. I'll take that back. You deserve a lot more credit than that. And I know that. But
good games from both Adis Lagumja and Mattia Botolo as well, both with 20. Lagumja 4. Yeah, really, really good offensive game from Botolo. Great serving from Lagumja. I'm thinking, like, how on earth was Cisterna in this game? The answers are obvious. Teo 4, very good as usual. Yeah. And a hell of a game from Pavle Peric. 18 for 26 with a block.
You know what? I'm sick and tired of the Pavle Peric on this slender that we've had on the Discord late.
He's good.
He can't pass a ball, but he can sure as well hit one.
He belongs on Verona. The last thing I wanted to talk about is the FA Byram situation. Everett, have you been following this?
No. Oh, I have been, thanks to Berkay.
Yeah. So
the squeaky wheel gets the grease.
The long story short is because Berkay complains so much that this isn't a Turkish only show. We feel bad for FA Byram. We like him. He's a good player. He is very, very fragile, unfortunately. This particular medical situation is not his fault. He got an injection into his ankle that ended up being completely mismanaged and what's the word I'm looking for? Administered incorrectly, botched. Yeah. The team doctor was promptly fired after botching an ankle injection that caused massive problems to FA Byram's ankle, and that sucks. And it's a good reminder of the fact that there are incompetent people that rise up the ranks high in every single line of work that there is, including volleyball commentators and volleyball doctors. So it happens everywhere. There are incompetent people that unfortunately have too much power. It sucks. I feel bad for FA Byram. I hope he gets well soon.
Me too.
Yeah.
Best of luck. Anything else to chat about from this weekend?
Of course, there's one more. It is Piacenza.
Yeah.
Losing at home to Toronto in 5. That is
my God.
So bad. And Andrea Anastasi on the sideline looked so mad, and it was so funny. And I loved watching it so much. But once again, Ronnie Cuban Spike, cover your ears. You are not allowed to listen to this, Ronnie. You're not allowed to listen to this. Jose Miguel Gutierrez was absolutely unbelievable. He was absolutely amazing. 32 points.
I remember back in the day, and I can't remember if which Cubans were on this team. I can't remember if it was like Lopez and Yant. I know Yant was on that team actually, but I did a stream for like the U23 Norseca Championships or Pan Am Cup or something along those lines. And the best player on that Cuban team, the man who we were wondering if he was roided up, was said Jose Miguel Gutierrez. Now, his return has been a little bit slow, but he used to be the crown stud. Like, he was better than Lopez. He was better than Yant. He was better than Ejo. Like, back in the day, he was the guy, from what I remember. Now, of course, Ronnie might want to contradict me just for the sake of contradicting me, but whatever. He doesn't matter. So this doesn't surprise me in the slightest, to be honest, Rob. What does surprise me, on the other hand, is that we had a phenomenal Yuri Romano game where he went 19 for 34. He did make 7 errors from the baseline, which is a little bit too much, but to get 2 aces. But then it was just dog shit everywhere else from Piacenza. Just an absolute like greyhound size of a dump on the sidewalk by Piacenza in this one. Like, who didn't they throw in? Like, because I'll remember when he was the best player in the world a couple years ago, he was getting subbed out for a 15-year-old. Okay,
that I made that joke in the Discord. It was ridiculous that
I will fully admit I stole that joke from you.
Thank you, but Brizard getting benched for a literal child, having been voted by Ace Volleyball the #1 player in the world. It's ridiculous. A classically embedding Piacenza loss. This is very, very funny. I think only this of all the 5 setters that Toronto has lost this year, I think this is the first one that at least on. I know that they've had a couple wins. I think they might have had one other 5-set win. This was Toronto's first 5-set win on the road. Piacenza, you should be ashamed. But Jose Miguel Gutierrez, 32 on 24 for 34 attacking with 2 blocks and 6 aces is insane.
Yeah,
that's insane.
That's pretty filthy, especially because he's on the left side too, right? So he's getting volume. Like he's their #1 target in serve receive too, and he passed pretty damn good. On 31 attempts, 48% positive, 23% perfect. You're passing like basically 50% positive. You're only getting like you took a lot of volume, got ace 3 times, but still like that is disgusting.
Really good.
If only Cuba had someone who could set the ball. I was thinking about the other day, like imagine all these Cuban players that could play for Cuba, like Juantajena, Leal, Leon, and they still have Taboada setting them. That's hilarious. Let's continue.
Let's continue. Yeah, heck of a game for Toronto. Heck of a not game for Piacenza. Let's take a look at the standings. First and foremost, with 2 games left to play, it is time to say goodbye to Catania. Goodbye, Catania. Thanks for participating. Thank you for bringing volleyball to Sicily. Thank you for skipping the A2 division entirely. It unfortunately is time for you to go back to hopefully A2, hopefully not all the way back to A3 where you just came from. Catania is relegated. It is over. They will drop out of the SuperLega this year. Thank you for participating. They have 8 points to make up with 2 matches remaining. It is over. No more relegation drama, which breaks my heart a little bit. But Catania, goodbye. The rest of the teams, you are safe. Trentino also on the complete other side. Congratulations, Trentino. You are the 1 seed. Trentino is the 1 seed. They can play their bench the next 2 games, and they honestly might because they have to worry about Champions League.
Other than that, though, there is a race for 8th though between Cisterna,
yeah, definitely,
and Moda here. That's where
even
spicy.
Padova is statistically alive. They would have to get 6 points and get a lot of help. But yeah, Modena Cisterna is super spicy, and other than Perugia, who's locked in at 2nd, basically like 3 through 7 is separated by 4 points. It's crazy.
So much stuff. We need to look at who's playing who here in the next little bit. Okay, Trentino versus Perugia. So that's a little fun, which means all the teams in the middle are just going to be playing each other. Cisterna versus Verona. So Verona can probably pick up another win there.
Cisterna needs it more.
Lube versus that's very true. Cisterna does need that more. That's really interesting. Lube versus Piacenza, which has absolute massive implications on between who finishes 3rd and who finishes 4th. Massive. Love that. Monza versus Padova. Monza needs those points. Padova needs to stay alive. That could be interesting too, especially with the way Padova's been playing recently. Milano, you get an easy one. You get Trentino, or you get Toronto. Modena versus Catania, whatever. Modena gets lucky.
They do get lucky in this one, but yeah, and then looking forward a little bit to the last week of the season.
Yeah, we have to.
Perugia versus Milano. The thing is, like, Perugia and Trentino both can't go anywhere. So
yeah, what Perugia do we get in
right.
that in that game?
Probably
I think
Simone Giannelli. He didn't even play over the weekend. We saw Gregor Rope, and I've heard that they might sit Giannelli for the rest of the regular season. And
100%. Why not?
How could you blame him?
Why not? Yeah, absolutely. Sit Giannelli. That makes sense. So I'm gonna give
Georgia Italian national team. Take notes. Don't play Giannelli every game this summer. I swear.
Yeah. Piacenza has the really big advantage there against Modena. That's who we're looking for. Yeah.
Yeah, Piacenza Modena in round 22. Lube gets Verona. Tough game. Monza versus Cisterna is a pretty big game. Trentino versus Padova is meaningless for Trentino, but then maybe they play the bench and Padova steals points. Milano versus Perugia is always fun because of what happened last year, even though Perugia won't care as much about that game in the very last week. But yeah, the spots 3 through 7 are a complete toss-up, and it's going to be really interesting about who lands where. You do not want to be seed 7 because that means you play Perugia. You do not want that. Or at least I assume that you don't want that. I assume that most teams would feel a lot better about their chances against Lube or Piacenza
100%
compared to their chances against Perugia.
Absolutely.
Even Verona could grab the 3 seed. Like, that's not impossible at all.
Any one of those teams, Milano, Milano, Monza, Verona, Civitan, like Lube, Piacenza, like this is completely open. There's like Lube. Who does Lube? Lube has 2 tough matchups. Lube has the toughest road in this next little bit because they have 2 teams with massive, like they've got Piacenza, who they're tied with, and they've got Verona, who's just right on their steps. So that's like Lube has the toughest road here. Monza is in the best spot technically because they play 2 teams that are below them in the standards in Padova and Cisterna, but both of those teams are still in the playoff race, so it's going to be a little bit more interesting. Verona is in a decent spot. They play 1 team below them and one team above them, but like Milano, same thing. They got 1-1, but Milano could have a good shot at getting 2 wins here as well because they have to play Trentino or Perugia in that second match. So what about Piacenza? Piacenza has Modena and they have Lube.
Lube, yeah. It's going to be really, really interesting. So this weekend, cancel your plans, lock in. Padova versus Monza is Saturday, but the other 5 games are Sunday. Like, you're going to want to watch every one of these games that you can.
So much could happen. There's so many. I don't even want to break down the possible scenarios, Rob.
No, me neither.
Between 3-7 because there's so many of the possibilities. Any one of those teams could finish anywhere, and I absolutely love it.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's awesome.
I'm really pulling for Monza to push up into the top 4, obviously. Because they have the potential, if they could take care of business and get 6 big points here, finish the season with 39.
Yeah, dude, it's shaping up to be a really fun playoffs.
Love it.
Ready to move on?
Love it. Yeah, PlusLiga. Let's hit it up because we had the first round. It's interesting. In Italy, they do all the cup all in one go. In Poland, they like to break it up a little bit. So we had the first round of the Polish Cup quarterfinals. Now, 2 of the matches were kind of blow-offs, right? You had
really
a top team. Yeah, really 3 of the matches, but you still had a top team against generally a second league team, although one of them was a 3rd-tier team because Leon's Angels team, kind of made the upset. So those ones are kind of whatever. Java and Anioli Torren, the Angels, 3-0. And then Zavierci beat Ruduzniak 3-1 as well. So good for those teams for making it there. There's really only one game to talk about this in this, Rob, as JW took care of business against Gdansk 3-0, but Resovia laid the biggest egg, losing 3-1 to Luke Lublin at home.
A significant egg was laid.
Polish Cup. that was pretty disgusting all around. Good job by Lublin, but man, Resovia, can you figure it out, please?
The answer is no. No, they can't. Second outside hitter, a big problem for Resovia. Neither Loati nor Chebul could get anything done. Both DeFalco and Boyer, both good. They were not the problem. They did get, they did get kind of torn up in the middle a little bit. Alexander Ferreira, the Portuguese guy, 45% efficiency on 17 points on the left side. I think Tobias Brand, I remember being good this game.
Yeah, Tobias Brand came. I haven't seen him in forever.
Yeah,
like, where did Tobias Brand? Like, I didn't even know he was alive, and he just popped. And it was like, it was like he came up on the screen. I was like, is that Tobias Brand?
Sure was.
And then the card came up, and I was like, oh my goodness, it is. It really is. When you look at who is their opposite? Who was their opposite in this one, Rob? Because
they had a couple,
and then they brought someone else in, and I'm trying to remember.
Mateusz Malinovsky, good.
Yeah, Malinovsky. I liked him as a lefty,
points.
right?
Yeah, he's a lefty, 10 for 20.
A little bit undersized, active arm. Really liked him. I really liked him. He was dynamic. I don't think they win this game without him. No,
definitely not.
That change was massive, and it seemed to me like Resovia just really couldn't handle it.
It was weird too, because like the stats don't really tell the story of this game, because I watched it too. It was just like a Luke Lublin team that had nothing to lose, that had like really very little pressure, that was excited about the opportunity to be there. And Resovia just has some weird, like, gross cloud that follows them everywhere they go, and there's just something about the vibe of that team that causes them to collapse in elimination situations. I mean, what were the set scores here? I mean, the fourth set was not close. 22-23, and then
14 for Zhezhov. I almost wondered if we were going to be going to, like, if this was going to go 5.
Yeah, if this was like reverse sweep
popped
situation.
off in that I was like, this could be a reverse sweep. But Lublin, the way that they were able to answer back in that in that fourth was really tasty and a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah, good team. So the Polish Cup semifinals in Krakow, March 2nd and 3rd. That's a couple weekends from now. Yeah, I think two weekends from now. JSW versus Luke Lublin, and then Warszawa versus Zawiercie. That second match in particular, I'm very, very excited for. So that'll be good. Let's turn to the regular season of the PlusLiga, where the week for Resovia went from bad to worse. They lose 3-1 to Olsztyn. Olsztyn, who is significantly undermanned right now. Let's see who is good here. Moritz Karlitzek, 20, very good.
Yeah, that's not bad at all.
Alan
Armoa,
15, Armoa 11. Chebul and Boyer were the best players for Resovia, but low efficiency across the board. Only 26% as a team is not great.
But only this is one of those matches, Rob, where I look at it and I guess like their blocking numbers and serving numbers for Olsztyn are a little bit better. Like offensively, Olsztyn was only 30% efficiency as opposed to 26.
Yeah.
Right. Like they're not that much better. Like Resovia actually had more points offensively, 48 compared to 45. So it's interesting to me. We also got to see Tuaniga start in the fourth.
Yeah, so they've Olsztyn's got themselves a foreigner limit problem with Nico Szczerzen being done for the year. They need a Polish guy somewhere, and they've been choosing to use a Polish setter, which is this Jankiewicz guy, number 5, who's been the backup all year, so that they can start Alan, Karlitzek, and Armoa on the wings. But what they chose to do in the fourth was start Josh Tuaniga and then bring in Kamil Szmendera, who I know nothing about at outside, but he was good. He went 5 for 7. So.
71 hitting 71 with his 56% efficiency is not bad at all.
Yeah, good job, Javier Weber. But Resovia figured it out. I'm the more I think about it, the more worried I am for them against Fenerbahce in the CEV Cup. Like, seriously.
Yeah, I mean, we may have been wrong on that call. We may have been wrong on the call. Before we jump into other upsets, big shout out to Zaksa, who was able to secure a win against Radom. That's kind of where, I mean, I think that sums up that we're cheering on that they got a 3-0 against Radom. Just kind of sums up everything for Zaksa this year. But some other results to look at, and another one that, Rob, I think both you and I watched, Barkam Lviv all over JW in this one. And JW, no Tanyuti, they went with Scrooters, and Edvin Scrooters might be the worst signing of the year for them. Because
so bad.
I think I'm a better setter than Edvin Scrooters right now.
Yeah.
Like, throw me in, coach. Throw me in, I swear to God.
Similar.
That was bad.
Similar to how I said that I could have set the Cuban national team better than Tabawada at the World Championship 2 years ago. I think Everett could have set JSW better than this Edvin Scrooters guy. And Adanos made the point in the chat, our Polish buddy, in the Discord the other day, saying that JSW letting Amy Teravaporti walk was their biggest loss of the offseason.
I've been a big fan of Teravaporti for a long time, and I think he's always been quality when he's coming off the bench. I'm to be honest, I'm a fan of Finnish volleyball in general, but I think Teravaporti is really quality, and letting him go was a massive mistake. And you're 100% right. Sorry, who was saying that? Was that Adnos?
Yeah,
Adnos was saying that, and it was huge. But on the flip side, Vasil Tupci was incredible. He was 15 for 23, hit 61% efficiency. And then Ilya Kovalov as well, 12 for 18, hit 50% efficiency while hitting 67%. Those two were unreal. And when Barkam Lviv looks like that, when Tupci is playing like that, that is a tough team to play. That's a tough team to play. They earned this win. They went out there and took it. And it was awesome to watch. And I said it earlier in the show, Rob, before coming into this match, I thought JW was the steadfast number 2 team in the world behind Trentino. I don't know if I believe that anymore. I really don't.
Yeah, I've been less high on JSW this year. I don't think their roster construction is as good as it was last year. Second outside hitter is still a problem for them. Rafael Shimura is acceptable, but when you don't have Tomasz Fornal, who didn't play until like midway through set 2. So people have been making the joke in the Discord this season that the devil works hard, but Marco Sedlacek's agent works harder, because I do not understand how on earth this man gets contracts like a JSW deal. It makes no sense at all. No. He stinks, does not belong there. This backup setter, this Scrooters guy, I think he's Latvian. He's awful. That was one of the worst setting performances I have ever seen. The stats don't even really tell the story of just how bad he was. And Barkam Lviv is a perfectly respectable team. And I mean, Tupci and Kovalov, when you combine the two of them with potentially Ole Plotnitsky, that wing trio for Ukraine.
So it was interesting for me that JW brought in Yuri Glider in the third.
Yes.
In the fourth. No, in the third. And because Glider is
Ukrainian.
He's Ukrainian, but Glider is also one of the most emotional players, and you can kind of see like he was trying to spark something. He went 4 for 4 when he came in, which was really good. But on the flip side, we had Norbert Huber, who I know a lot of you have been touting to be the best middle in the world, all this shit. He was bad. He was 3 for 6, which isn't terrible overall, but with a 0% efficiency, and was an overall -1 on the day, and probably his worst match of the year.
That's bad. He also had the guy setting him the ball who might be the worst setter on planet Earth. So I'll give him a break. This is a bad game for JSW. I don't care what roster you throw out there. If you are the team at the top of the table that you think that you are, do not get 3-donged by Barkam Lviv. Again, Barkam Lviv deserves a lot of credit here. But that was not good. I then thought, because all those upsets were happening, I think, on Saturday. And then I called in Discord, like, guys, watch out. Like, next, Zavierce is going to lose to Kuprum Lubin, and that did not happen. Zavierce won 3-1. So that was the world going back to normal a little bit.
One thing to note here, Rob, and thank God for friggin', what is this, Volley Station and the Polish, 29 digs for Barkam as opposed to 14.
Hey, dig stats. How about that?
Dig stats. Fucking give us some fucking stats. Goodness gracious. Why is this so hard? Clayton went on this rant about, I don't understand stats. I don't even know when someone says 500. There's no 500. That was the stupidest thing I've ever heard. Let's figure it out. You had to have an Italian man explain it to you poorly and you still couldn't understand. That was a bad, but you tell me you don't want stats. Dig stats. Dig stats. Give me dig stats. Goodness gracious. Volleyball, why do we suck?
Figure it out.
Fuck.
Yeah,
Sorry.
that Coppa Italia commentary. Oh my god.
We didn't even talk
Oh
about it.
no,
I don't think we
because
should.
I can't bring myself to talk
I
about it.
can't
It's so
touch
bad.
on it. It's
Uh,
embarrassing.
let's get the hell out of Europe. We've spent a lot of time on this show. Let's quickly cover the Pro Volleyball Federation. There were a lot of games since the last show that we did. I am sorry to say that I watched exactly 0 of them. That is on
I've
me.
been
I
I've been on
apologize.
this shit. It's been good. Like you're really starting to see the separation in the league. And I mean, Grand Rapids, they lost to Omaha earlier in the week on Monday, but they turned around with a really nice win at Atlanta yesterday. I believe it was 3-1. No, they did it in 5. It was a Grand Rapids win in 5, so that was really good. You're really starting to see that separation. I think Grand Rapids is the best team in the league right now. They're at 3-1. Atlanta's in second at 4-2, and I think you have Omaha sliding in after that. To me,
Omaha's
Vegas is
really good too, man.
Omaha is really good too, but Vegas is the big question for me. They just got another win tonight, 3-0 over Orlando,
San Diego, who's
San Diego,
terrible.
which is bad. Columbus is bad. San Diego is bad. They need a lot of work. But to me, Vegas is that big question mark team in all of this. Is can they be good enough to compete with the Atlantas and the Grand Rapids and potentially the Omahs? I really like the makeup of that Grand Rapids team, Rob, with Simone Abbott and Claire Chaussee, Dimitrova. I really love it. That trio of outsides might be the best, but Leah Edmond is quickly becoming the face of this league and is quickly becoming the best player in this league. There's no doubt about it. She's the best offensive player in this league, bar none. And we're starting to see who was like the Russian that was playing for Atlanta yesterday. She was a new one out there and kind of surprised me. But overall, like things are starting to get spicy in this league, Rob, and I'm really starting to like it.
Wait, Anna Lazareva is playing the
Yeah,
PVF?
Lazareva is playing is playing. It was so random.
I didn't know that.
Where is this coming from? So the random internationals that you have in this league are great. One thing to note, though, I know that Bethania de la Cruz, I'm pretty sure she set a record for aces for Omaha yesterday. She also looked really bad in transition. Like she wasn't jumping, she wasn't swinging. It's going to be something to watch for that team for sure.
I'm still surprised that Bethania de la Cruz is playing that much. Is Brooke Nunneviller back?
Yeah, she is. It's usually the two of them on the outside.
Interesting. Okay, yeah. That. I mean, this is a player over the hill, Bethania de la Cruz. She's one of the great players of a generation, but she is over the hill. Yeah,
let's see her stats from the last game. Oh,
so they beat
13,
Orlando
13 for 35
yesterday.
This was yesterday.
Okay.
Yeah, this was last night. I was watching this one last night after the Grand Rapids versus Atlanta game. So like Brooke Nunneviller is doing all right, but like the efficiency has gotten better in the league though, Rob. Like we're up towards like 30% efficiency, which is actually respectable.
Yeah, 30% as a team on the women's side is very good. That's very good, and I'm not surprised. I mean, you needed several weeks of playing together, of playing real matches to figure it out, and they have. So it seems like it's
Omaha has Vuchkova as well.
Yeah,
like the random internet. I absolutely love this, and it's really starting to pick up now as we get towards the playoffs. There is one player though. Who am I thinking about right now? Who really impressed me this week? I think she's actually on Orlando. I think she played for Wisconsin and Nebraska this year. Where's the Orlando stats here? Jill Gillen. I really like watching her play. Jill Gillen.
I don't know her.
No, let's look her up. Right, she's a little bit undersized on the left side, but she approaches so aggressively. Her last 2 steps are really dynamic, and she rips on the ball.
Oh, okay. I actually remember this girl. She played at Arkansas this year. She was a
Yeah,
super
she
super
played she
small.
played for a red jersey. That's it.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
saw
yeah.
some stuff about her on socials, and she was really impressing me. Unfortunately, we saw my girl Shina Joseph go down with a bit of an injury in yesterday's game, so she's been out. She actually kind of showed up in the game before that when they lost to Atlanta
Finally.
early. Yeah, finally. Trust me, I'm gonna call her up and give her a piece of my mind. Be like, "Shot, we need to be better on this." But yeah, overall, Rob, like I could get so used to, like, I won't lie, my girlfriend is already a little bit sick about having to watch volleyball during prime time hours, right? Because usually sports don't go on in my house during prime time hours. She's a dancer, she doesn't really care. I need to watch that on my own time. Prime time hours are for Love Is Blind, of course. So we're starting to watch some volleyball in the prime time hours because that's the only sport that I can be like, hey, like this is kind of only a little bit of my job, so like let me do it. And it's getting to the point where I'm watching enough where she's getting sick of it, so that's getting a good point, and it's getting intriguing. I really like the Vegas broadcast. I think the Vegas broadcast did a really good job. The commentators that they had on board on that were top notch, both of them. So it's getting better, slow and slower. But by God, PVS, get rid of that goddamn USAV goddamn promo.
Oh, the commercial is so bad.
Every single fucking time. And like you guys don't even attempt to do anything. Timeouts in between sets, straight to ads. And you have like 3 ads you just rotate through. Goodness gracious.
Yeah, it's bad.
Get a business team in there. Get some advertise going. You have the numbers. Figure this out. And if not, let your commentators do the job. Bring up some stats. Talk a little bit about it. Share a story. Share a recipe. I don't care. I don't want to hear that damn music anymore. It's a really nice video. I liked it the first 2 times, but we're like how many games into this season? Like 15, 20? You know how many times I've heard it? Oh my goodness. Get rid of that. Oh my God, I'm gonna have a Super Bowl freak out and throw a chair through my TV soon if I hear that song one more time. Figure it out. Why can't we be professional about this? Why does it feel like a D2 goddamn broadcast? Oh my goodness. Sorry, apologize for the ranting.
Oh, that was a world-class rant right there, Mr. Delorme.
I forgot.
Thank you for that.
I've been so frustrated with that damn song for an entire week. I forgot.
It's bad.
It's
really bad.
It's literally in my notes now that I go to my PVS page here, and as soon as I remembered it, I couldn't contain myself. You are national champions.
Yeah, the USAV commercial is really bad. Yeah, I've figured out. I agree that this is.
No.
You have ad space. You have ad space to sell it. That's the part that I don't get.
The ad itself is not terrible,
but they play it every break. You have
that's
ad
what's
space
terrible.
Sell it. Yeah.
Like whoever created that ad, you made a good ad, right? USAV, you went out and made a good, like that's a great piece. If you were playing that once, twice, maybe 3 times throughout the broadcast, it'd be fine. Interspersed with other things, no problem. I love that. Not every damn time. I'm pretty sure the other time they went USAV, whatever Franklin ball, Spalding back to USAV, and I was about to kick a wall through the hole. I swear to God. I won't buy any of your official merch if you keep on playing that song. I'll tell you that right now.
Ooh, that's a threat. That is a threat. Okay, we need to get out of here.
Somebody just asked CPs.
Last but not least, we had a little bit of VLA ball over the weekend. I was not there in Phoenix, Arizona, but there was good ball played. The Dallas Dogs playing up from Tier 2 in a Tier 1 regular season event. They were awesome. They went 3-1. And very importantly, Everett, they're moving up. The Dallas Dogs got promoted. They got 14 points in 4 matches, which is outrageous. That's exactly the number they needed. They needed to get to exactly 50 cumulatively. They did. They hit it right on the number. And the Dallas Dogs will play VLA Tier 1 next year. So it'll be them rising tide and ascension in the West Division, just like we saw this weekend. So we have not this year, even though they reached the target, they'll still play Tier 2 the rest of this year. We have the 9th VLA Tier 1 franchise. So congratulations to Dallas. I mean, they had 23 points coming into the season. They needed 27 points to get promoted. They did that in 2 events.
Amazing.
They played 9 matches and got 27 points. That's ridiculous.
You know, Rob, I've heard these stories about how when you're a software engineer, when you're in school, it's really, really hard, and you really got to grind. But then once you're out of school, you've kind of done all the hardest work you're ever going to done, and everything else is kind of just patchwork. And to me, that's kind of what graduating from tier 2 to tier 1 is in the VLA, as this weekend proves. Like, you are the team trying to I'm gonna play up with the big dogs, and then you slap them around for 3-1 over the weekend. So congratulate, like honestly, it's a good job. Like, you just jump over that threshold. It's like you have to climb up like Yosemite, and then it's just flat up there, and you can just walk for days because the tier 1 teams suck.
I mean, I don't totally disagree with that, but I don't think you're giving the format the credit that it deserves. And
I understand and fully respect the format. Like, the long-term vision and goal is there, and I see that, and I respect that, and I love that for you guys. It's just a lot of fun to make fun of that. Like, it's that awkward growing stage between the hair growth. You've had short hair for a long time. You want to grow it long, so you need to get it cut, and it's just a little bit awkward. That's what's going on with tier 1 and tier 2 now. So I know I rag on it a little bit, but I do want to say you guys are doing God's work out here, and thank you. Like, this is what we need, and the ultimate experience and what you guys are going for, totally respectable. But just it's kind of like moving on from like the Bronze Age to a Golden Age. All of those tier 1 teams left over from the Bronze Age are still using bronze tools, aka old men, and the younger teams are the golden guys, aka the guys fresh as a daisies who are playing, in school right now and are ready to go. Volleyball is a young man's games. I'm sorry, Lloyd Ball and the rest of Ascension. Like, you guys can't hang with the young guns. Figure it out. So yeah, I just wanted to address that because I know I harp on it a lot, but I see the vision that's going there. It just takes some time.
It's true. Yeah, the older tier 1 teams are struggling to even beat some tier 2 teams a decent bit of the time. But the cool thing about Dallas is that they made it super, super clear from day 1 of their existence that this was their goal, and they got it done in a season and a half, which is crazy, and they deserve a lot of credit.
And I also think you need to give massive credit to Dallas as well too, because they're doing it in a non-traditional men's volleyball area.
True.
Right?
Yeah, exactly. It's great.
And that's massively huge. Like, all the other tier 1 teams have areas that support men's volleyball somewhat. Like, there's obviously a little pocket there in Arizona, of course, in Southern California, up in the Northeast and the Midwest. There's all of those pockets, but Texas is not a volleyball state. So for the Dallas Dogs to come out, be one of the first teams to qualify this way, much respect to them.
Yeah, it's awesome, and there's a lot in it for them once they join tier 1 next year. There's a whole lot of organizational perks that they're going to get, including we can talk about this offline. I don't want to go public with the details too early, but there are plenty of good reasons to try and get promoted to VLA tier 1, and there's a great chance that they won't be the last team this season to do it. There will almost definitely be a team in the Central, someone in the Midwest. Either the Milwaukee Dive or the Kentucky Unicorns. One or the other is going to get promoted this year too.
I love that too.
So the promotional races are super fun. It's a great thing that the VLA has going. These were decently good games. Was it the highest level of volleyball the VLA has played this year? No. I think the West Division is down this year, and I don't really like what I've seen from either the Ascension or the Rising Tide. I would like for both of those teams to figure it out.
Hey, it's those growing pains. But once again, we see the vision. We're on board for it. All right.
Yeah.
Is that it this week, Rob?
That's it.
I kind of need to go to bed. I won't lie. I know it's only 9:00, but I've been drinking since 1. And
I'm just thrilled. I'm happily surprised that this 4.5 megabit per second internet in this hotel was able to produce at least most of this show. So I hope that it wasn't a horrendous viewing experience for you guys. But yeah, we made it. Everett, go to bed. I'm gonna enjoy some more hotel beers, which are great. And
I will say though, Rob, I am potentially thinking about doing a bit of a live watch along for the Wednesday games. Just
awesome.
It's strapping in. I know you probably can't come in, and Wednesday is going to be a long day. That's going to be 6 hours of volleyball straight. So I'm thinking about it. I'm
Actually, so I'm on this work trip in DC. I'm going to be very busy tomorrow. Wednesday,
So
you never know.
maybe here's the deal. If we do it, I'll host the stream, and if you're able to tune in at any point, you tune
Yeah,
in.
yeah, yeah.
If
That sounds great.
yeah. So
So
let's
get in the Volleyball Source Discord, boys and girls. We haven't plugged it nearly enough. It's the best online volleyball chat community in the world. It's going to be a pivotal resource this week for all this CEV stuff. I will guarantee you that.
if you're a volleyball nerd, come hang out.
Oh, for sure.
It's the best place for us volleyball nerds.
Absolutely. All right, that's a long enough show. Thank you guys for watching. See you next week. We love you.
Bye. Peace.